Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
What's up, everyone? We are back. Talk About It Season 4, Episode 5. My good buddy, Troy Clymer. Holy cow, Troy. COO, Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation. That's a new one. CEO, Balance Claims, and obviously the president of Catalyst Group. So, I mean, wearing a lot of hats, doing a lot of things. 2020, 2021 have been busy times for you. How you doing, man?
Great. This is was episode 3 or season 3 or 4. Talk about it.
Season 4. You are episode number 5 of the season. So
Yeah, this is round 4. We've been on every season, you and I.
absolutely.
So certainly this is the most interesting one. It's been amazing to see the growth of Talk About It and Company Cam and everything that we do together in the industry, and certainly has been a blitzkrieg of growth in the last in 2020 and 2021.
It's been crazy. And we've got a lot of paths that I want to go down, and we've got only a certain amount of time to fit all of these paths in. But the first one I want to talk about is just high level. I've never introduced you as COO of SIRC before. So real quick, just tell me what went into that, because obviously Balance Claims is, the industry leader in what you guys do. What positioned you, or what led you into making the move into SIRC?
It's a great question, and I know we'll talk about this more, but so much convergence is going on in this industry right now, where you have the insurance restoration side of the industry, the retail construction side of the industry, the solar part of the industry really coming together and merging. And, Balance and Company Cam have been moving together now for almost 6 years, 5+ years. And so you and I have become great friends, family friends. And so 2020 was an interesting year, and Balance thrived in all that was 2020. So it was a bit of a curveball for a lot of companies' business plans. Our company at Balance, we're the largest business process outsourcer for contractors in the United States, grew tremendously in that year, and started to do an awful lot more than just estimating and supplementing and admin work for insurance restoration general contractors, which was fabulous. There was so much opportunity for us to step in and perform administrative services for contractors in all sectors of the marketplace. And that was noticed by some public companies that are moving and shaking in the convergent space. And on April 29th of 2021, Balance was acquired 100% by Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation. Very exciting time for our 40 W-2 staff at Balance in year 6, right on the front of our exit strategy. So it was faster than planned we can talk about that, how to manage exits and whatnot. But, I had been the CFO and COO of Balance since inception. At the acquisition, I transitioned immediately into being the Chief Operating Officer for the parent company that acquired us, Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation, SIRC, which is a public company, which is in the midst of a roll-up right now. And if you've been seeing the press, we just kind of finished our near-term roll-up. So they bought some of our clients, insurance restoration general contractors, and were involved with us for a while, acquired Balance in whole, and quite an interesting time, right? And going through the process, identified, and I went through a process of interviewing for the COO role, which I got. And I've been acting Chief Operating Officer for Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation since June 1st, and shifted my title at Balance to CEO, and maintained the president of the Catalyst Group, which many of you know is the industry's leading nonprofit educational corporation for the insurance restoration side. And really now the whole industry is it's coming together. So it's been a very exciting time, and Balance has grown tremendously. And we find ourselves in a spot now where we really are the back office shared services leader to the entire marketplace. So we're doing so much more than just estimating and supplementing. And as my role has evolved, my founding business partner, Eric Kepler, a great friend of ours, somebody I've worked with for a long time, took this wonderful exit opportunity to exit, something that many entrepreneurs hope that they'll get the chance to do. And, because I've got 3 C-level jobs, sometimes I wish I had jumped on the golden parachute with it. But nonetheless, he's enjoying the lake. And Josh Roseboom, who many of you know, Eric and I's third partner at Balance, has stepped up and is now the president of Balance. And we've got such a great leadership and middle management team at Balance. I jokingly say they don't even need me. And so as I drag my left foot out of Balance here over the next 9 months, I'm maintaining the CEO role there as we succession plan. But certainly Balance as a wholly owned subsidiary of SIRC is our shared services node at SIRC. Really what we're doing at SIRC is bringing together nationwide solar, roofing, retail and insurance restoration, and EV and battery charging. So we are a behemoth. We're on a $120 million run rate right now for our fiscal year 2022, which will end 2/28/2022. And I'm pretty confident that we're going to be a $200 million plus organization by the time we get to August 2022. We're on that run rate right now. We're doing about 10 to 12 million a month already. And so it's been an amazing journey going from being the founder and CFO and COO of Balance, which is, $10 million company, to being the COO of a, $120 to $200 million company. And I'm up to the challenge. So it's been fun.
Well, first off, congratulations on that. And I hope Hepler is listening to this somewhere on a boat in the middle of a lake with his AirPods in. And, congratulations to just everyone with Balance. It's really remarkable what you've done. And I actually want to go to where you said something in that answer that really, you said, hey, we really grew in 2020. Not everyone could say that. There were a lot of companies that did. Obviously, Company Cam grew, and I have reasons that I feel certain companies really thrived in 2020. But I want to hear your thoughts on that. What was in place for Balance Claims that allowed you guys in maybe a turbulent market, a tough time, to really thrive and to put yourself out there in front of these, publicly traded companies, national brands that are like, we need that as a part of us. Do you have anything that you can attribute to that with Balance where just really allowed you guys to thrive during the times?
It's a great question and a good setup. And, I know you already know the answer. It's interesting. I founded a company out of my house in 2012, 2013, right? Took everything I had. I was an entrepreneur, as a senior executive for a global HR software company for a long time, and took a risk, became an entrepreneur with Josh Roseboom and Eric. And it's been amazing to go from that. We're living the American dream. And the reason we've been able to be so successful is fundamental business planning and budgets. And that was critical in 2020. It really separated the chaff from the wheat. And I know Company Cam the same. I'm very familiar with, Gogan, you, and really the entire team at Company Cam. And, Luke and I are dear friends, and, the members of your board, and what you guys have done is very much the same. We were able to really step on the gas in 2020. When people were scared, we saw it as opportunity. And it's because we had a very well organized, fundamental operational business plan in place 36 months forward, and we do it now. We speak a business operating system language at Balance called EOS. It's very popular right now. It's kind of all the rage, and in the marketplace right now. It's kind of just invading the roofing space this year, right? So a lot of people are doing EOS, stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's very important if you're a smaller company or you're a startup. You're new to being a senior leader, can help you tremendously organize your business, the accountability for your people, and know how to make very complex things simple. So coupling a fundamental business plan, and I don't want to throw a bunch of acronyms out here, but at Balance, we do EOS business planning in an OGSM and SWOT format. OGSM stands for Objectives, Goals, Strategies, and Measures. And for those who are familiar with me or what I talk about and teach, very seldom is it on what Balance does. But I'm evangelizing OGSM and EOS a lot. And I've been giving a lot of talks on that in the last few years just because of what you're getting at. It's what made all this growth possible. When a lot of people were very worried about their business, we were confident because we had the right people in the right seats. We had visionary leaders, operator integrators, an organized departmental plan. We had budgets broken down monthly and quarterly, pro forma budgets, super important. But we don't, that's a whole other talk. But because we had all those things well organized and we were very well positioned in the market, Balance is a mature company, was in year 6 then. Really, we've been operating since late 2012. We just changed the name in 2015. But that gave us great confidence. And what we had was 40 people in our company rowing in the same direction. And it was very challenging. Company Cam has a central office like Balance, and that was a competitive differentiator for us for years, especially amongst what we used to get lumped into as being a supplementing company. We're a lot more than that now, obviously, but a lot of times they're decentralized. And at Balance, we have 13,000 square feet of office space, and everybody works from the office in Indianapolis, just like you guys have going on in Lincoln at Company Cam. But everything that was 2020 kind of threw that for a loop. And I remember being together with you the last time we saw each other for a long time in 2020 was in Minneapolis in March at the final Highway to Hail event. And we come to Minneapolis to kind of wrap that up every year. And so we come home, and because Balance had good systems, processes, and a business plan in place, when the next week the state of Indiana said, hey, you have to work from home, I didn't go to the office as the senior leader of the company for a year. Literally did not start going back into the office until like February or March of this year. And so many of our employees didn't, but we were able to transfer our business plan, our budgets, our culture digitally and virtually. Company Cam did a seamless job of this as well. And so many of us in the Catalyst group came together to lead contractors through that. You remember, the Contractor Coach Pro initiative and the Daily Show that we put out there with John Dye, our former director of marketing, and really just helping contractors through that. It's hard for contractors because you have to go out and be on site and interact with consumers and things like that. So, we were able at Balance to pivot very quickly. I'm at home in my home office studio today. My wife and I have a vacation coming up next week, and still I have to quarantine for a week before vacation. We're going out of the country, so it's been interesting. And it's amazing now because that was kind of the norm. I came from large corporate global conglomerates where I was a senior executive for a long time before becoming an entrepreneur. And that was the norm. Back then it was WebEx and GoToMeeting and whatnot, but everybody traveled and there was decentralization and things like that. But we built that into Balance's DNA from the jump. Even though we're a services company, we're high on tech and processes and have a good tech stack. And because of that, and having good budgets in place and already having people on the same page, we were able to thrive in 2020 when a lot of companies were struggling in the March, April, May, June 2020 timeframe. We were stomping on the gas. We were well funded. We had the proper capital. We were able to get even more well funded with a PPP loan that we had fully forgiven very easily. And it really was the best year in the history of the company. And it resulted in us being fully acquired by a very large public company and becoming a critical asset to them and me stepping right into the number two role at this large company, SIRC, immediately because we had a good plan. And that's something that we're working on at SIRC now to implement in all of our subsidiaries because we're decentralized. So I just went from running a few small companies to running many mid-sized companies in our large company. And one of the common threads that we are doing is indoctrinating all of the subsidiaries in EOS. We have everybody reading Traction, which is kind of the EOS front end book that you read, and getting everybody into 90.io, which is a technology system we use to implement EOS and hold people accountable. And what it does is it gets people on the same page, and you couple that with bringing it out into objectives, goals, strategies, and measures business plan that's evangelized in your organization, not top down, but middle out. So your middle management, your vice presidents, and the line level team members are creating this. What it does is it develops culture, and it keeps people aligned to expectations and budgets, and they know their role on the team. That's super important. Culture is the glue that keeps an organization together in challenging times. And I'm blessed that we have a good culture of balance, and that we're building a great culture at SIRC. But that was the differentiator. And so I would encourage entrepreneurs out there, solopreneurs, if you're new to contracting, if you're a salesperson, you just started using Company Cam, you got the right tools in your quill, you're using Balance to handle your estimating and your supplementing, and you want to make sure you get your team on the same page. Get the Catalyst Group vendors involved. People will come around you and help you implement business planning into your business, and get your people rowing in the same direction. So when adversity hits, and it will, again, it might be in a different form, but you need to have adversity identified in the forms that it might come at your business in the threat box of your SWOT analysis. And if you've got a plan and your people know the plan, they'll take care of you, and you'll be able to step on the gas and make adversity opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, you referenced the being together in Minneapolis, and I was making a donut and coffee run then that weekend when we got home, and you and I chatted for a long time. I think my wife texted and said, "Hey, is there going to be donuts or coffee this morning?" 'Cause we were on the phone for a long time. And really, if I were to summarize that conversation, you were able to see with, moving to a remote workplace that all of those systems, all of those processes, all of those things that you had in place at Balance, you didn't actually have to see them done in person every day, and they still worked. And that's a testament to the strength of, what you provided as leaders with Balance. Let's take a quick break. When I come back, I want to talk about how you positioned yourself for that exit, and not necessarily helping contractors think about that exit, but like you said, we have to be thinking further ahead than just this quarter. We have to have that bigger plan. So when we come back from break here, let's talk a little bit more about that bigger plan and maybe how to put that in place.
Hey guys, Jordan here with a quick reminder that you can catch up on all of the episodes of season 4 at companycam.com/taco-4. And while you're there, if you're not already signed up for Company Cam, you can sign up and get 50% off your first 2 months of Company Cam Pro. Again, companycam.com/taco-4.
What's up, guys? Back here, Troy Clymer with all of his awesome titles, but I'm just going to say my dear friend Troy Clymer with this coming back. Troy, when we left, we were talking, about how Balance had put in the processes. You've got EOS, you're doing things to make sure that you guys are positioned for success. I think that's a really crucial point for contractors to think about is, how do we scale? How do we potentially exit? And having that, 3-year, 5-year, even 10-year vision, and then working backwards to where each quarter our goals are more than just this quarter's goals. They're a piece to that big picture puzzle. Is there anything that you specifically would, encourage a contractor to do in setting those 3 or 5-year goals and working backwards?
It's very important to look at your business on where you want it to be 5 years out. One of the hallmarks of EOS is it takes your long-term business plan and it breaks it down into manageable bite-sized chunks. And it gives a common language to it. So the complex becomes easier to talk about. You know, the term rocks and to-dos are thrown around a lot in EOS, and accountability charts. The software we use to kind of bear trap our EOS happenings is called 90.io. Check it out if you haven't. Help you work on your business instead of in it. So what it does is it enables you to have a 12-month, 36-month, 5-year business plan, but break it down into 90-day segments. So you should be reverse engineering it, not the other way. Too many people will try to have a 30, 60, 90-day plan, but then they want to extrapolate that out to 5 years. You need to have a vision of where you want to go with your business. It doesn't need to be one place, it can be a few. Yeah, I don't like the word exit, right? Because I didn't exit our businesses. Nobody wants to acquire your company and have you leave, especially if you're the only owner. It's mission critical that you stay. You know, SIRC didn't come and acquire Balance and think Troy, Eric, and Josh were all going to fly the coop. They would not have bought us if that was the case. No, it's typical when there's multiple owners that one may exit. You know, and Eric got the joy of doing that, and he's taunting me from the lake constantly. There's been a lot of this in our industry, okay? So if you look back at some of the great happenings in 2020 and 2021, you know, Company Cam had a lot of great press. You guys took on a nice round of funding, right? And, you know, that's topic of another conversation, but why? Because you were well poised, well positioned, and it helps your company because you knew where you wanted to go, right? Another Catalyst Group company, Job Nimbus, one of the major CRMs in our space, took on like 50 some million dollars in funding from Mainsail partners. Why? Because they knew where they wanted to go. They had a plan. And it's not necessarily, hey, we know just how this wave's going to break and how we're going to surf it 5 years from now. It was, we want to be in this set of waves 5 years from now. And here's how we're going to ride that 100-year storm, right? So if you want to be able to surf like Bout from Point Break, get away, right, from Johnny Utah, you better have a plan or Johnny's going to catch it, right? And so that's what we had at Balance. We had a 5-year plan, and because we had a good business plan and it evangelized that all around the industry, in the marketplace. So what does that do? It helps the people that are working with you at your company that you serve as a servant leader to know that their position is important. Or if you've ever played football, quarterback and the running back and the wide receiver that catches all the touchdowns get an awful lot of the glory. But usually the most important people on the field, like the offensive guard and the tight end, right? Or the linebacker. Well, if those people don't know how important their role is to getting to the 100-year storm surfing, you're not in a good spot, okay? And so that's the most important thing about having a 5-year plan and having a vision. And then also understanding who works in your organization. You should have them assessed. We use an assessment simple that called the crystallizer assessment. And then we use a personality assessment called 16 personalities. They're kind of innate to EOS and 90.io versions of it. It helps you identify, and they're free, by the way. Again, crystallizer assessment, 16 personalities. Quickly, easily understanding in your business, people score on a matrix of how much of a visionary they are versus how much of an integrator they are, okay? So you get the right people in the right seat. And then understanding their personalities and 16 personalities, right? And then doing that and fitting it into your business plan. And having that vision of, hey, our vision at Balance is to bring people together to advance their lives. Okay, so we've got that broken down into some, you know, more robust mission statements, which you should have, right? To do so with, you know, transparent leadership across our organization that brings integrity to everybody that we deal with, customers, vendors, internal customers, our employees, so we can bring people together to advance their lives. It should not just be the CEO that knows how to evangelize that mission statement. If you asked Angelique Bullock, the team leader of our shared services department, she would rip that out faster than I did because she bought in. because we had a vision of, in order to accomplish that mission, we have to get to a point where we can be acquired and become a part of the convergence that's going on in this industry. It's very important. In the last 2 years, this industry is coming together, not just on the insurance restoration side, but all of contracting. And this year, we've got a whole other kind of threat situation going on with the cost of materials and the labor shortage. It is a challenge, especially if you've got retail construction projects going on, right? That are not in the insurance landscape. So if you have a plan for where you want to go in 5 years, it's easier to navigate and steer your ship, even if it's a larger ship to steer, right? Because we had that balance, we felt confident in moving into an acquisition landscape that was on what I would consider the front end of our exit cycle. Now, exit, again, it's a bad word. I didn't exit and go anywhere. I picked up a few extra jobs, right? But what it means is we knew what we wanted to do to bring people together to advance their lives. And so a 40-person company, that's not a big company, but 40 people is not a tiny company either, right? So it's not like we're steering a aircraft carrier, but we're maybe steering a destroyer, right? And so we were able to accept the opportunity of being acquired because it was the right thing for our mission, but we can better impact this marketplace faster with more resources, becoming a part of the SIRC family, you know. And I had the confidence then to immediately put my hat in the ring on leading the organization with Dave Massey, our CEO, and our other great C-suite members at SIRC and our many subsidiaries. But if we didn't have clarity of vision across a 5-year timeline, we would not have been able to do that. We wouldn't have had the confidence, because it's not easy going through an acquisition with a public company. It's not just all, hey, great, you get bought. There's audits and, you know, there's landmines in there all over the place. And we don't run a perfect business at Balance, and none of you do. You know, everybody who's a good business owner who's successful knows that. There's pimples, dimples, and warts and things that you need to improve on. You know, in the land of my favorite cliches, I'm always saying the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement, right? And if you want to be able to improve, you got to know where you want to be 3-5 years from now, but you have to be able to back that down into quarterly increments, bite-sized chunks. And that's what EOS, or effective business planning, can help you do, is you have 90-day rocks, and then you have your next 90-day rocks. But those are built out of your mission and vision of where you're going 5 years from now. And that's super important, especially for you new contractors. You know, so many contractors come into being a business owner or a CEO for the first time from being the most successful salesperson at their former organization. You know, they have a lot of success, they have some liquidity, enough to start a business. And if you want to have a liquidity event like an acquisition, well, you best have a plan. And you have to make yourself the best CEO, president, whatever you call yourself as the leader of your company, as you can. And a big part of doing that is surrounding yourself with good team members, surrounding yourself with good vendors, treating both of them like their family, rooting out the people that do not need to be around you, and having a plan that allows you to adapt, right? I don't want to say I didn't see the material cost spike and the labor shortage coming, because I did. Why? Because we had a plan and we have experience. And we know when you have a situation like a global pandemic that shuts down the supply chain and crushes a lot of revenues for a lot of companies, you end up with years like this where you have labor shortage and material cost increases. So savvy contractors did what? You go talk to Dustin Beegler about what do you think Dustin Beegler is worried about nail shortages and shingle shortages? I've been to his warehouse. No, because he's stockpiled and he's got enough supplies to build for a year. Think Eric Hunter at Precision's worried about that? And I understand these are big fish, but what I'm saying is because they had a vision and a good business plan with a budget, they were able to be prepared for this year's situations. Even smaller sole proprietor contractors did the same. Having enough materials on hand to get them through the year, and then they're not impacted by the material cost spike because they bought ahead and were wise with their budget. So there's things that you will be able to do and foresight that will come your way by looking out further than 12 months with your business plan.
I love it. I want to wrap it up with maybe one of the buzzwords that's thrown around a lot in our space, and that's culture. I hear it all the time. You have to have a great culture. You have to have a great culture. How much, because personally, I think that this is the key to having a great culture, but how much do you think that 5-year vision impacts having a consistent culture in your company? Is that something that, because Balance has such a strong 5-year plan and vision, and you have, your mission statements that come off of that, does that really impact and lead to having a consistent culture for your team?
It's the same thing at home with your family, Michael, right? You've got a wonderful wife and 2 awesome young boys. And if you're not constantly setting the vision with them about who they can be, what they can become, how hard are they going to want to practice football in the hallway in your house or basketball in your front yard? And it might be just so they get the discipline they need to be the best version of themselves. But in their mind, they think, I'm going to be in the NBA, right? It is the same thing at your business, okay? It is absolutely mission critical. And culture comes from the ground up, not top down. A lot of people confuse that, right? Your business is a family. It is a living unit, okay? And this is not easy. It's not easy at home. If you want to be a better husband, if you want to be a better father, we're all in the realm of needing help and improvement. But having that vision and evangelizing it, we do it at Balance across the industry. That's what gave birth to the Catalyst Group. We've got this group of 34 plus vendors, and we all are creating vision together for the marketplace. Why? Because we want to do it right, and we want to see the marketplace succeed. But it starts with blending visions, and you have to do that in your organization. You have to get buy-in from those who are working with you. I recommend servant leadership to everybody, right? Because the more you can, and this is hard for me. Those of you who know me, I'm about as OCD as it comes, and I will try to micromanage everything unless someone helps me understand not to. That's in our nature as owners. Why? Because we care. And you've got, a good friend of mine, Ryan Stewman, put a post on Facebook the other day, and he was talking about the difference. You might have seen it, talking about the difference between passion and intensity. Okay. And that is a kind of high wire you've got to walk on as the business leader. You want to lean towards passion, because intensity can scare people off a little bit, right? So as you think about culture, it is a buzzword, but really it's family. At SIRC, our emails end in SIRC family, right? SIRC family. It's incredibly important. If we just acquired another company this week. We announced it on Tuesday. United States Solar Network, right? Immediately makes us one of the largest nationwide solar players in the country. We're bringing that together with roofing companies and EV and battery charging and all that. That's just like a new employee. So as we integrate them into our culture at SIRC, that's part of what Balance does there, right? Is the back office for SIRC. We've got to take the best parts of them into us and let it impact our culture. And so as you get to know the people that work for you, and some of these assessments that I mentioned will help you do that, invest in them. And I would highly recommend EOS to people that are struggling for an operating system for their business, because it guides you through the process. If you haven't read Traction, you should read it. I know it's been a popular book this year, but it will open your eyes to a lot of these things and give you a playbook for how you can unfold this and unpack it inside your organization. So you're unlocking the potential of the people that work for you. And when you do that, they will take care of you as the top owner, the key stakeholder in your business.
Absolutely. Well, Troy, as always, I appreciate you jumping in with us. Season 4, Talk About It would not be what what it is without Troy Clymer making his appearance. So again, thank you so much, and I think I'll probably see you at International Roofing Expo here coming up soon.
Yeah, 8 days in Vegas is entirely too long in Vegas, but I will be there from the 8th to the 15th, and I'm looking forward to some good meals. And my wonderful wife will be there joining us Thursday through Sunday, Mike. So she wants to hang out with you and do something Thursday night if you're still in town. I love
Absolutely.
you. I'm grateful for you, man. You've been an enormous part of my life since we've known each other, and super thankful for Balance's relationship with Company Cam and everything that our organizations do together. Appreciate your time today. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks, Troy.